Welcome to Mind Matters with Dr. B, where healing begins and minds break free. Let's talk, let's learn, break down the wall. Mental health is health. It's time to stand tall. Talk, let's learn, break down the wall. Mental health is health. It's time to stand tall.
Imagine losing your home in a flood, or escaping a war zone with only the clothes on your back, or surviving a pandemic, or waking up after an earthquake to realize your entire community is gone. Now imagine, in that chaos, fear and grief, having nowhere to turn for your mental health. This is the reality for millions of people worldwide, and it is why the theme of World Mental Health Day 2025 is access to services, mental health in catastrophes and emergencies. Because in crisis, mental health support isn't luxury. No, it is a lifeline. When disasters strike, whether wars, natural catastrophes, pandemics, or humanitarian emergencies, the immediate focus is always on food, shelter, and safety. And that's a good thing, right? But what about the invisible ones? The trauma, fear, anxiety, depression, the post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. The truth is, mental health needs don't pause during emergencies. They multiply. And according to the World Health Organization, WHO, 1 in 5 people living in conflict zones or disaster-affected areas experiences a mental health condition. Yet, access to mental health services remains one of the weakest links in disaster response. Behind every statistic is a person, a child waking up from nightmares after losing their family, a mother carrying both her baby and unbearable grief, a displaced young man who feels hopeless, unseen, and forgotten. You know, families torn apart by fear and displacement. And I know this pain, not just as a psychiatrist, but as someone who has lived it. Yes, in 1997, during the Ife Modakeke crisis, I remember bullets piercing our roof. I watched neighbors fall in cold blood, some gone instantly, others gasping for their last breaths. And I thought it was the end for my dad and me. Did I hear you say, what about the rest of my family? The rest of my family had fled into an unknown destination, running without food, without sleep, and without any certainty of survival. They were hungry, sleepless, homeless, and burdened with fear no child or parent should ever endure. That chaos left scars I still carry, scars that remind me every day that when disaster strikes, the mind suffers just as much as the body. And without support, these invisible wounds can last a lifetime. I mean, without mental health support, those invisible wounds do not simply fade. They linger, shaping lives and futures in silence. But with access to the right care, like counseling, community support, someone trained to listen, and when needed, professional help from a psychiatrist, healing is possible. My people, mental health care can be the difference between hopelessness and resilience. It can be the difference between a life broken by trauma and a life rebuilt with hope. So, what does access really mean? Access means integration. Mental health support must be part of every emergency response. I mean, mental health care must be built into emergency response. not as an afterthought, but as essential as food and water. Access means trained workers, doctors, nurses, teachers, and community leaders equipped with skills to recognize and respond to distress, and also know when to refer to a psychiatrist. Access means safe spaces where children, survivors, and displaced people can talk, grieve, and find hope again. Access also means breaking stigma, reminding everyone that seeking help is not weakness, it is strength. Again, access is not just about hospitals or medications. It is about having someone trained to listen. It is about creating safe spaces for children and anyone who have witnessed violence. It is about culturally appropriate, trauma-informed care, even in refugee camps, disaster zones, or remote communities. Access means psychological first aid, mobile mental health teams, community support groups, and the ability to reach anyone anywhere, reaching people wherever they are. Because mental health support should never depend on your postcode or your passport. And here is where you and I come in. We can support organizations providing emergency mental health care, whether through donations, volunteering, joining and actively participating in their initiatives, or in any other way possible. We can also advocate for government to include mental health care in every disaster response. Advocating for mental health support to be included in every humanitarian response. We can raise awareness that mental health care is just as urgent as food, water, and shelter. And one way to do this is by sharing this video with all the contacts on your phone. Together, we can help more people to see that truth. We can also educate ourselves and others about trauma. Please check in on people, even with just simple caring words like, "Are you okay? I am here to listen." Most importantly, we can keep talking. Because silence fuels stigma, but awareness fuels change. The reality is, we cannot stop disasters from happening. They are beyond our control, but we can ensure that mental health care or mental health support is always part of the response. Every crisis leaves scars, but access to mental health services can turn scars into stories of survival. And on this World Mental Health Day 2025, let us commit to making mental health support available to everyone, especially those facing catastrophes and emergencies. Because mental health is not optional, it is essential. Mental health care saves lives. It helps people rebuild not just homes, but hope. On this World Mental Health Day, let us remember that access to services should never stop at the body. It must include the mind. Mental health is a human right in every place and in every circumstance. I am Dr. B and I thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, because by spreading this message, you could be the reason someone finds hope again. Mind matters, your life matters. Dr. B says so.
Mind matters. Your mental health matters. Mind matters. Your mental health matters. Mind matters. Where healing begins, lines break free. Let's talk, let's learn, break down the wall. Mental health is health, it's time to stand tall. Mind matters. Your mental health matters.